The king has cancer. After seeking medical treatment for an enlarged prostate earlier this year, the palace has now confirmed that the king has developed some form of cancer. But after spending billions and billions on cancer research over the years, why is this even still a worry? Every other person is thought to develop cancer at some point in their lives. And after researching it for generations, it does leave us with a very fair question. How have we not cured cancer yet? Now firstly, I just want to preface this video by saying we hope that the king makes a swift recovery, we hope that all of his loved ones are around him, and we know that he's got a team of fantastic medical professionals that will be doing everything they can to help His Majesty out. However, this news isn't unique to the royal family. I'm sure many of you know someone, or you yourself, has experienced someone having cancer in their lives. Maybe you've had it at some point, maybe you're suffering and you're battling with it right now. So this news does open a wider discussion. Now, as I talked about in my video on what happens if all of your DNA disappeared, you can watch it after this video. Cancer is essentially cells that are damaged or DNA is mutated in some way so that the cells are rapidly dividing in an uncontrolled manner. Now, when you have a clump of these rapidly dividing cells, this is called a tumour, and it can either be relatively harmless, a benign tumour, or it can be harmful, a malignant tumour. Now, malignant tumours pose a threat because as they keep dividing and growing en masse, they can either put pressure on or block vital tissues in organs that will impair their function. They also could be taking up nutrients that healthy cells in that organ would be needing to function properly. The good news is, according to Cancer Research UK, half of all patients diagnosed with cancer will be able to survive for 10 years after their initial diagnosis, which is a positive. However, it does seem that progress on that front has slowed a little bit over the last few years. While higher survival rates is a positive thing since the 1970s, Cancer Research UK had an income of £719 million for 2022 to 2023. And over the last 2 years, they've spent £800 million or more on cancer research alone. So why have we still not found a cure for cancer with so much money being poured into research? And that's just one charity. Well, I think the best way to help us understand this is to change the way we think about cancer. Now, imagine you're on the dating scene. You've been on a few dates and you're just trying to find someone you click with. And one of the most important things to you is stand-up comedy. You love going to shows and you want to find someone who will go to those shows with you. Now, after a few awful dates, and I'm sure many of you have been there, you find the one. Success. This person loves stand-up comedy as well, and they want to go to shows, and they're more than happy to go to shows with you. Here's the thing though, stand-up comedy isn't all the same. Yes, as an umbrella term, it all is the same. There's a person with a microphone and they tell some jokes. But we all know that it's a little different. Humour changes from person to person. What they find funny is different. And comedians are able to tap into those sorts of sense of humours with their choice of comedy. Watching Jimmy Carr versus watching Kevin Hart will give you completely different experiences. One uses edgy one-liners and the other one goes for more mainstream storytelling. Now, you could like both comedians and their comedic styles, or you could be in one camp or the other camp. Either way, it's still comedy, but it's different. Cancer is a relatively similar situation. Yes, all cancers are rapidly dividing cells that are uncontrolled and they cause problems because of the mass that they grow. Although it's all to do with rapidly dividing cells, with over 200 different types of cancers, you can see how there would be differences between them all. So instead of thinking about cancer as one disease, it's probably more helpful to think about it as 200 different diseases that share some sort of commonality. Again, it's all to do with rapidly dividing cells. However, where the cancer is in the body will affect how it behaves. Not only that, but the person's genetics will not only affect how the cancer develops, but how it behaves in the body and how it will respond to certain treatments. You could have two people with the same cancer, give them the same treatment, and then respond differently. Not only that, but the person's environment. Do they smoke? Do they drink? Are they exposed to radiation a lot of the time? These external environmental factors can affect how cancer develops and progresses with the person's disease. And not only do you have to have that to contend with, but as treatment progresses, it is not uncommon to see cancer cells developing resistance, just like bacteria do to certain antibiotics. So it poses a problem when we have to keep finding different treatments to treat the same cancer in that one patient as resistance grows. It's really easy to forget that we have made some massive improvements in cancer therapy and treatment. However, as it still affects so many of us, royal or not royal, it's within the world's best interest to find as many different treatments to help as many different people as possible.